Scientology is obviously one of the newer faiths that has come into being over the last 100 years or so, and it started off in about 1950s, so on. And what we teach is that each person, each dude, man, woman, and child, is a spiritual being that inhabits a body and has a mind. See, so that's like the fundamental kind of principle that we have, and then on from that, we teach that each person has lived for a very long time, longer than the human lifetime. So we teach we have lived in past lives, and hopefully we will live future lives. So on the basis that each faith, each set of beliefs and so on is like, how do you actually gain then? Like we teach that each person is a spiritual being. So how can that spiritual being improve, become more of a spiritual being, and so on? From the Christian point of view, you have to believe in Jesus Christ and so on, and that's what you do. You pray. From our point of view, you have to address the spiritual trauma in your life. You have to lead a more ethical life, and you have to train and understand the human condition. What are human beings? What are the pitfalls of human beings? How we screw up, how we can redeem ourselves in some way. So as the main parts of our spiritual practice is the counselling that we do, and there's training courses that we do.
Okay, and with the training courses, is there a charge for these? How do they work?
Yes, our church is organised in quite a hierarchical manner, actually quite similar to the Catholic Church in that respect, and that we have a kind of a management structure based in one place, and then it descends from that as in the form of a tree, in the same way that there's a headquarters for the Catholic Church in the Vatican, and it moves out from there. And we have to fund our way. We actually rent this premises here, so we have to charge fees for the courses and the counselling that we do. Not all of them, but most of them. You can do free courses online and so on, but most of the courses are actually very reasonably priced.
Okay, so the charges of the course go to the running of the church itself, and the maintenance and renting of the actual missions.
Yes, I mean, you can see most of the people involved work for nominal sums. I personally, anything that I do for my church, I do as a volunteer, and a lot of people do that, And but obviously we have bills to pay and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So what would you say are just the underlying basic beliefs of Scientology for its members?
Yeah, as I said, we have this teaching that each person, so the person is the spiritual being. In the Christian point of view, they say you have a spirit, as if the spirit is something separate from you. We say, from our point of view, the person is the spirit, right? So when we're actually dealing with the personal, we're dealing with the spirit as far as we're concerned. So when we say that the spirit goes on, it's actually the person goes on. The personality is the spirit, and from our point of view, the spirit is immortal. It cannot be killed, it cannot die, but it can be damaged and it can be harmed. And if you look at what, for example, just to illustrate, if you have an accident when you're a child, say, that can affect you for the rest of your life, you see. So even though you're a spiritual being and so on, you can be harmed, because we're associated with the physical, we're attached to a human body. When the body is damaged and so on, we're also harmed, you see. So as part of our thing, we actually teach that you can address this. You can actually overcome this past trauma, both in this life and in past lives.
So what do you feel are the misconceptions about Scientology?
Well, they are the misconceptions associated with any new faith. When Christianity started a couple of thousand years ago, it was regarded as, a threat to the current order. It was a criminal offence to be a Christian for about 300 years, and so on. They were thrown to the lions and so on. So that is the kind of the response. The response is basically that people tend to be suspicious of anything new. People don't like change all that much. They kind of get comfortable in their own set ways, and they feel it's they would feel that a new faith and so on could be a kind of a threat, to say,
But a lot of people, there are a lot of aspects in the media where they talk about disconnection, that the church is only there to extract members or take advantage of vulnerable people and extract money from them.
Yes.
So these things are out in the media. How do you feel about that? Do you feel it's completely wrong that people have taken the wrong impression of the church, or what's your opinion on that?
Yes, obviously I would feel that that's wrong, because otherwise, why would I be a member of a church that actually did that? You see, but it is quite easy to portray that as actually happening. You see, for the simple reason we actually charge a cost for our courses and the counselling that we do. You see, so it's easy to portray that as a kind of a money-making scam and so on. But yet, when you actually look at the facts, this obviously I've been asked this question many times, and I always say, let's look at the facts. Our accounts are audited. We're set up as a non-profit-making entity, and as such, our accounts have to be audited by an external accountant and qualified. So our accounts are in the company office for any person to walk in off the street and examine. And anyone that has actually done so goes, well, you guys aren't, doing all of these things that are being claimed, you see, etc. So you hear this kind of thing, you see, etc. But it's not within my experience, and I've been a Scientologist for 25 years, you see. So this stuff that I hear, it's not my experience, you see.
Yeah. And how do you feel about, or how does the church feel about free zone and independent Scientology, non-paid forms of Scientology, where you can do courses for free?
Yeah, obviously, those people can do whatever they want. They're out there. There's quite a lot of people that doing that. As far as I'm concerned, so what?
So does the church have any opinion? Is it okay that the people practice Scientology outside of the framework of the official Church of Scientology, or is it something that they would frown upon, where they prefer people practice Scientology within the framework of the official Church of Scientology?
Yeah, well, obviously, like any church, we would prefer that there's a tremendous amount of study and technology and so on involved in Scientology, absolutely enormous amount. We would prefer, in fact, from our point of view, it's essential that that's being done in an orthodox manner, you see, right? Now, obviously, we would prefer that, but it's impossible to stop anybody. If somebody can walk in here tomorrow, buy any amount of books and materials, and go off and do their own thing with it. That's life.
And is there a reason why the Church of Scientology requested that YouTube remove the Tom Cruise promotional video? The 9-minute video that was only meant for internal Scientology use. Yes,
yes. It is because our church holds a copyright on any of the materials that we own and use. And that particular video, which I actually saw the original showing of that video, that was purely for internal use, aimed at Scientologists who understood the language he was speaking. You see, they understood it. So when it's taken out of that context, you see, he said it just made no sense at all. You see,
And do you feel taken out of that context and put on YouTube that was actually harmful towards the church? And you also said that you saw the unedited version. So was there a longer version? Was it cut down?
Oh yeah, yes. It was actually quite long. It was actually shown at an event at I was at. And as I said, he was purely speaking to no one else at that event but other Scientologists, you see. So he was speaking in the language of Scientology, and it's like if you had somebody in the Mater Dei Institute, and he's speaking purely from a Christian point of view on issues to do with the Bible, only to other learned Christians who understand exactly what he's talking about when he's saying, John verse 6, chapter 9, or whatever it is, see, etc. And obviously his audience would fully understand what he's saying there, you see, etc. So, that's the scene there.
When you have a high-profile member like Tom Cruise,
yes,
who is a member of the Church of Scientology, do you think it might not be a positive thing to have him talking about Scientology in an open forum? I understand that it was leaked against that Scientology didn't put it forward themselves, that it was leaked against their views. Would it not be positive to have that there? To have Tom Cruise as a spokesman for Scientology and have it in public domain.
Yes. Well, Tom Cruise is not a spokesperson for the church, and we have a very, very strong policy that there's obviously a lot of famous people who are members of our church, and they have to choose. They choose whether or not they want to make that public, if they want to make a big deal about that. That's their own affair, you see. The same way there's a lot of famous people who are members of the Catholic Church. Some of them make a big deal about it, some of them don't. That's just life.
And that kind of leads into my next question. The Tom Cruise video sort of sparked off the monthly protest organised by Anonymous outside the churches and centres around the world. And they were basically saying that the main reason they were protesting, besides what they said were the abuses of the church, was also its disregard of freedom of speech in relation to aspects of the Tom Cruise video and other Scientology promotional videos. What's your opinion on that? Sure. On Anonymous and the claims they made against the church?
Well, first of all, Anonymous they're just a sad guys, They stand over there screaming abuse, So what? You see, some of them, of course, in the United States have actually...
Can you just hold on for a second, until the phone stops, just so you're not going to pick it up on the stand?
No problem.